Hello everyone. Our goal for today is to understand and write inequalities using real-life examples. We're also going to learn how to graph the solution to an inequality on a number line. So you might be wondering, well, what is an inequality? Well, inequality is a mathematical sentence that compares two unequal expressions. What does that mean? It means that you are comparing two different values. For example, your height versus the height of your friend, how much money you have versus how much money your parents have, which is probably a lot more than you have, right? So here is a less than symbol, right? So an example of that would be, let's say 2 is less than 5, which is true. Or you could also say that 5 is greater than 2. Now if you put a little line underneath the less than symbol, you get a less than or equal to. So an example for that would be, let's say a child who is less than or equal to 4 years of age, they can go on a trip for free. This is your more than or equal to symbol. Alright. An example for that would be, let's say if the age is, let's say, more than or equal to 16 in Connecticut, then you can drive. I think that's probably true. So last you have your greater than symbol or more than. So pick any number, for example 5. So 5 is definitely more than 4. Okay, you can verify this on a number line. So if you get confused on remembering these symbols, it's actually kind of easy to look at them in terms of a alligator eating the bigger number, right? Which has more? Ask the alligator. So obviously 2 is less than 5, so the alligator is opening its mouth toward number 5, so 5 is greater than 2. So use this example if you do forget, is it greater than symbol or is it more than symbol? Just go back to this image. So now what I want you to do is think for a minute or two. You could pause this video, but I want you to brainstorm. I want you to think about what are some of the real life examples of inequalities. So here, pause the video and just come up with a couple more examples. So hope you have an example. The example that I came up with is that you must be at least 18 years of age to vote in a federal election, right? Now, notice how it's saying at least, but I'm using more than or greater than 18 symbol. Because you have to be at least 18, which means you have to be more than or equal to 18. Okay? So now what I want you to do is take a look at these examples. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 examples. What I want you to do is use the inequality symbol and put that symbol in between these two numbers. Alright, so again, pause the video for a minute or two and then go ahead, place the symbols where they belong, and then we'll come back and then I'll show you the right answers. Alright, so let's take a look at this. Right, so 4 is less than 9, or 9 is greater than 4. Okay, on a number line, -5 is greater than -8. Okay, let's take a look at that on a number line. So here's -5 and here's -8. So -5 is greater than -8. Okay, then you have 12 is greater than 10. I'm not going in order, but it doesn't really matter. So -6 is equal to -6, right? They're both equal. Again, on a number line, -3 is greater than -4, right? You rather owe somebody a -$3. I mean, you rather owe somebody a $3 than owing them $4. And then owing nothing is better than owing 7. So 0 is greater than -7. So now what I want you to do is go back to example A, right? And see if you can use another symbol that is not up here maybe, to represent, to show the relationship between 4 and -9. So think about it for a second. What other symbol can you use other than less than symbol? Okay, So if you thought about it for a second or two and don't have an answer, I think I have an answer. Okay, so we know that 4 is less than 9, but also they're not equal to each other, right? So we can use that symbol. 4 is not equal to 9. Okay, so let's talk about E. Negative 6 is equal to negative 6. Can you use another symbol? Perhaps you could say, well, negative 6 is more than or equal to, because then they're definitely not more than, but there are, negative 6 is equal to negative 6. So I'm on the next page now. We're going to talk about graphing inequalities. Okay, we're going to graph n is bigger than 1 and all these other examples. But I want to show you something. There's tons of resources out there that you can use on inequalities. Math is Fun is one of the websites that I always go to. I recommend my students that are learning about new concepts, they should go to mathisfun.com. There's tons of notes on the symbol and tons of examples on how to use the inequality symbol. There's purplemath.com that I like to go to. But here's another website that I found. It's mathbitsnotes.com. So let me actually move up so I can show you what the web address is. Yeah, so it's mathbitsnotebook.com. Here's another website, mathgames.com. I love this website. Actually, it's free for now. And my son is in kindergarten. He likes going on the first grade. And there's tons of activities that he does with me. So this is a good website to look at. So here's an example that I found on inequalities. Is x equal 3 a solution to the inequality? And here's the inequality. They're saying that x has to be less than 7. So let's see, if you place 3 over here, is 3, because 3 is x, right? X is 3. So is 3 less than 7? Ask yourself, is 3 less than 7? Yes, it is. So you could check that. Yeah, I got it right. So again, this is another cool website that you can go to practice inequalities. So let's go to our second page, right? We're graphing inequalities. We're going to graph a solution on a number line. One thing we have to understand is that when we're graphing inequalities, so our first example right here, n is bigger than 1. Let's just put 0 over here and then 1 over here, right? And then you got 2 and then so on. So what you're really looking at is all the numbers that are bigger than 1. So obviously over here on the right side of 1 is bigger than, so these numbers are bigger than 1, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an open circle at 1, because it's not saying that n is greater than or equal to 1, right? 1 is not included. We want all numbers that are greater than 1. So these numbers right here, if I shade to the right, are greater than 1. So what does that mean? The thing to understand here is that if you're using less than or more than symbol, we're not including that number, right? We're not including 1 in our answer set. So we're going to use an open circle. In this example, we're going to include a negative half in our answer set. So we're going to use a closed circle to represent the number is included. So again, open circle represent a number that is not included. So 1 is not part of the set. And then closed circle means that the number is included. Okay, let's go to example 2. I'm just going to put a negative half right here. Okay, and I want to shade in all numbers. So V, all numbers that are less than or equal to negative half. So I need to include negative half. So there will be a closed circle at negative half, and I'm shading anything that's to the left of negative half. So these are possible values that we're talking about. Okay, why don't you try example number 3 and example number 4, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, so pause the video for a second, try example number 3 and example number 4. So example number 3, you're reading the inequality from left to right. Okay? So let's see, you're saying that you want all numbers that are bigger than or equal to -3. That's what's going on. Let's shade in all numbers that are bigger than or equal to -3. So we're including -3. That means there's going to be a closed circle. And then we want all numbers that are bigger than or equal to -3. On the right side of -3 are all the numbers that are greater than or equal to -3. Number 4 is an interesting one. Okay, we want to include all numbers that are not 6. So we don't want to include 6, so there will be an open circle at 6, right? And all numbers that are not 6. So x cannot be 6. Well, could it be 7? Yeah, it could be 7. So all these numbers to the right of 6 are included. Could it be 5 and less? Yes, it could be. So anything that is not 6 is your solution set. Okay. Now let's take a look at example number 5 and 6. Again, give yourself another minute. Actually, these are compound inequality. We haven't talked about compound. So let's talk about them. So compound inequality contains two symbols, okay? And it contains two informations. You can look at one information at a time. So if I just look at this side and ignore the less than 8 sign over here, just focus on this. What it's telling me is that I want to shade in numbers that are greater than 6, right? Let's shade in numbers that are greater than 6. So if I put 6 over here, okay, that means I'm going to shade in the numbers. Now let me actually fix my 6. It doesn't look like a 6. I'm using a mouse to write, so just bear with me. Now that looks like an 8, so let's just go back. Okay, this might help a little bit. Okay, so 6, I want to shade in numbers that are greater than 6. That means there's going to be an open circle. There's going to be an open circle at 6. Okay, and these numbers on the right side would be greater than 6. But also, if I go back, and I look at the right side of this inequality, right there, that's telling me that although my number right here has to be bigger than 6, but also it has to be less than 8. So shade in all numbers that are bigger than 6, but less than 8. So not including 8, okay? These numbers in between 6 and 8 are our answer set. So any number that is bigger than 6, but less than 8 will be between 6 and 8. We should have actually talked about A. What are some possible values? So yeah, 6 cannot be our answer, but 7 will be, right? And then you could, even if you want to use decimal, 7.5 would be another possible value. Okay, so we already graphed it. Let's try example number 6. Okay, pause the video for a minute and try the example number 6 and 7. So for example number 6, very similar to example number 5, right? But they're using the less than or equal to. So x has to be greater than or equal to 6. At the same time, we want it to be less than or equal to 8. So our example, we're including 6, 7, and 8. And here's our graph. There should be a closed circle. So closed circle at 6, closed circle at 8, and any answer between 6 and 8. So for example number 7, we want to shade in answers that are bigger than, it has to be bigger than -1, but less than or equal to 4. Let me use a different color here. So it has to be less than or equal to 4. Because we're not including 1, so open circle at 1, bigger than 1, and less than or equal to 4. So including 4, which means 4 could be our answer set, and then less than or equal to. Alright, perfect. So thank you for watching this video. In our next video, we're going to look at the other 2 pages.